First, I want to apologize for missing the first call of my name here. It was an interesting trip in, to say the least. But I also want to thank you for the raising this bill, 6356, which is a proposed bill that would allow people with old, outstanding, out-of-state tickets to be able to register, or rather get their driver's license renewed. This was brought to my attention by a constituent of mine who has been a resident of Connecticut for decades, has been getting driver's licenses renewed all that time. And then this year, this past fall, I believe, or early this year, went to get a driver's license renewal and was told that he had an outstanding traffic ticket from Vermont dating back approximately 40 years. He was 19 years old. The ticket had to do with hitchhiking. It wasn't even a motor vehicle really related ticket. And the circumstances were that he was hitchhiking in Vermont in 17-degree weather to get back to his car, which had broken down, where two friends of his were shivering in the cold. And the officer pulled him over, gave him the ticket, and then told him to get out of the car and continue walking back to his vehicle, which was miles away from that particular location. He protested that ticket. Needless to say, he didn't pay the ticket. And then joined the Navy. And several years later got out, went into the reserves, and just retired from being in the Navy after all this time as well. Apparently Connecticut joined a database system, or agreed to join a database system, approximately 10 years ago. And only in the last couple of years has actually updated the computer software and whatnot to be able to actually access these out-of-state tickets from states like Vermont, where we have apparently this agreement. And when I heard the story, I was just, first amused and then sort of shocked that traffic tickets of this vintage are still being used to block people from being able to renew their driver's licenses. The ticket, by the way, was in the amount of $10, but with fees and interest and carrying charges and probably restocking fees and whatever else they had to add to it, eventually it got to be a $50 ticket to the state of Vermont, which he has since paid. But it just struck me that a couple of things. One, he vividly remembered this ticket because of the circumstances I described to you. So he knew that it in fact had happened. But I could readily imagine myself, when I drove through Vermont to go to a national conference, a state legislators forum about redistricting 15, 16 years ago, if I had gotten some kind of a ticket, I probably wouldn't remember it at all. That much time, 10, 15 years ago, goes by, you don't really know. And one of the problems is I'm not sure that the record-keeping systems of the various states, including Connecticut, are entirely reliable going back 40 years to make sure that you, in fact, had a valid ticket, that it was not, in fact, paid at the time that the original ticket was issued, and things like that. So it seems to me, and that's the purpose of the bill, is to find a way to simply say if a ticket is really old, and I had another bill that said 30 years, and after that we don't try to deny people driver's licenses at that point. But it seems to me that this new system that we've come up with is going to, now that we're actually implementing it, going to create a circumstance where a lot of old tickets that may have been paid or may have been issued to the wrong person because data gets confused in these systems, we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be facing this prospect of not being able to renew their driver's licenses, and especially someone in their 50s or 60s who hasn't had any problems at all, certainly in Connecticut and maybe anywhere else, for a long, long time is going to be told you can't renew your driver's license because of one of these old tickets. So that's the purpose of the bill. I appreciate the committee being willing to raise it, and I certainly would be more than happy to work with the committee to refine this to a point where it's something that could be enacted, perhaps with the support of the department. And I would answer any questions.
Thank you.